She hasn't called, she hasn't texted, not a single message, not even a reaction to your last post. But you've seen her name, quietly sitting in the viewer's list of your stories, over and over again. At first you told yourself it was nothing, coincidence, algorithm, accident. But deep down, you know better. She's watching, and every time you see that name, your heart shifts. Your brain starts whispering, maybe she still cares. Maybe she's just scared to reach out. Maybe this silence means something good. Number stop. This is not a love story. This is not a fairy tale where silence equals longing and views equal second chances. This is a psychological war, and whether you realize it or not, you're already losing. Because the moment you assign meaning to her silence, the moment you let her passive attention breathe hope into your chest, you've surrendered control. And make no mistake, this isn't weakness on her part. It's strategy. It's design. It's dominance through absence. Women don't need to chase. They observe, they test, they wait. Because they know most men will crumble in the quiet. But here's where everything changes. In this video, you're not going to hear recycled relationship advice. You're not going to be told to wait it out or just be patient. You're going to learn the truth, why she's watching, why she's silent, and why her silence says more about you than it ever did about her. And once you understand this, once you fully accept what's really happening, you'll never chase again. You'll never scroll through her feed hoping for a sign. You'll never let her passive presence manipulate your emotions. You'll become the man who no longer needs her validation, the man who doesn't flinch at silence, the man she thought she could keep on a string, but ended up regretting for the rest of her life. So stay with me until the end. This is not for the weak. It's not for men who want to be coddled or told what they want to hear. It's for the man who's ready to hear what he needs to hear. Because in the silence is your awakening. And once you master that, she'll never have power over you again. 1. She's silent, but calculating. Don't let the silence fool you. She's not torn. She's not confused. She's not sitting on the floor surrounded by tissues, wondering if she made a mistake. She knows exactly what she's doing. Every story view, every online status, every mutual friend she still follows. They're not accidents. They're breadcrumbs. She's not watching to reconnect. She's watching to measure your weakness. You think it's curiosity. You think it means she still cares. But to her, it's chess. And right now, you're the piece she's trying to trap. She wants to see if her silence is enough to trigger you. A message, a comment, a reaction. Because the moment you take the bait, the moment you reach out, you've told her everything she needs to know. You're still emotionally available. She still has power. And here's the brutal truth. When a woman knows she has you, she loses the urge to chase you. She stops wondering. She stops doubting. She stops fearing. And without fear, there is no desire. Stoic principle. Don't react. Observe. If someone else's silence dictates your emotions, you were never in control of them to begin with. A man of wisdom doesn't flinch in the face of silence. He doesn't scramble to fix what he didn't break. He doesn't run toward what's walking away. He watches, he learns. Then he lets go, without announcement, without anger, without need. Because the man who doesn't chase is the man who cannot be toyed with. And in a world full of emotional puppets, that man becomes unforgettable. 2. She's not missing you. She's measuring you. You think she's watching because she's sentimental. You imagine her replaying the memories, missing your presence, regretting what she lost. She's not. She's not scrolling through your stories, hoping to see your smile. She's scanning for weakness. She wants to know, did he fall apart without me? Is he still stuck in that same cycle I left him in? Or worse, has he already moved on? This isn't about love, it's about leverage. She doesn't want you back. She just doesn't want you ahead. Because if you glow up without her, if you heal, if you detach, she loses the psychological edge. And that is the real game. It's not about reconciliation, it's about relevance. She wants to win the breakup. Even if she has to fake happiness, stage confidence, and post-filtered joy to do it. And you? You're the opponent she secretly hopes is still suffering in silence, checking her page like clockwork. Psychology insight. The desire to win the emotional aftermath often outweighs the desire to reconnect. It's not about love, it's about positioning. Understand this. If she truly missed you, she'd tell you. If she truly regretted leaving, she'd return. But she hasn't, because she's not trying to fix what was lost. She's trying to confirm that she's still ahead of you. And the moment she realizes you're no longer stuck, that you're no longer watching, that her silence no longer affects you, she begins to panic, not because she wants you, but because she can no longer measure herself through your pain. 3. Your reaction is her reward. She doesn't post that photo for validation from strangers. She posts it for you. The perfectly angled selfie, the quote about healing and letting go, the sudden burst of happiness you never saw when she was with you. It's not healing, it's bait, designed to pull one thing out of you, a reaction. Because if she can get you to flinch just once, like a post, view a story, send a message, stalk her feed, she wins. Not the relationship, the power. She doesn't need your love anymore. She needs your attention, because in her mind, if you're still reacting, she still matters. And most men fall for it. They think it's a signal. They interpret breadcrumbs as hope, when really it's a trap. Emotional breadcrumbing designed to keep you stuck. Psychological insight. When someone controls your emotional reactions, they control you. The more predictable your responses, the more manipulable you become. Every view you give her, every like you drop, every DM you send in a weak moment, becomes confirmation that she's still in your head. And as long as she knows that, she doesn't need to come back. She already owns the space rent-free. Power play. Silence is not the absence of interest. It's the presence of control. The moment you stop reacting, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability, that's what keeps her up at night. When she no longer knows what you're thinking, when she realizes you've stopped taking the bait, when your name no longer pops up under her story viewers, that's when the panic begins. Not because she wants you back, but because you're no longer hers to measure, to control, to study. And that is when she starts chasing. 4. Most men lose because they wait. You sit in silence, refreshing her page, checking who viewed your stories, hoping, overthinking, replaying old conversations like they still hold meaning. You don't move forward because part of you still believes. If she's silent, maybe she's unsure. If she hasn't reached out, maybe she's scared. If I just wait long enough, she'll come back. Wrong. A woman who values a man doesn't play hide and seek with his heart. She doesn't drop cryptic quotes, hoping he decodes them. She doesn't rely on silence to carry a message. She shows up. She makes it clear. She acts. Silence is not mystery. It's a message. You're just too emotionally invested to hear it. And while you're stuck waiting, hoping for a maybe, she's already moved on to someone who didn't have to guess. Someone who didn't wait. Someone who didn't beg for clarity. Stoic reminder, you suffer more in imagination than in reality. What's hurting you isn't her silence. It's the story you're telling yourself about what that silence might mean. Here's the truth most men avoid. She's not confused. You are. And the longer you stay in that confusion, the more power she gains. Because women don't lose sleep over men who wait. They lose sleep over the ones who walk away without looking back. You lose your dignity when you place your life on pause, hoping for a text. You lose momentum when your mind orbits someone who's already left your atmosphere. Stop imagining the reunion. Start accepting the exit. And understand, a man who waits for someone who already left is choosing to stay behind. Power move. When silence arrives, return it. Not with resentment, but with finality. 5. Your attention is her insurance policy. She doesn't want to be with you, but she doesn't want to face a world where she can't have you if she ever decides she wants to again. So she does the bare minimum to stay relevant in your emotional universe. She lurks. She taps. She resurfaces just enough to remind you she exists. Not because she misses you, but because she wants to keep you warm on standby. You're not her priority. You're her emotional backup plan, and that's why she pops up after weeks of silence. That's why she suddenly likes your old post. That's why she comments when you stop posting about her, stop watching her, stop needing her. Because your detachment threatens her safety net. She doesn't want the connection, just the option. You are the emergency contact for her ego. Psychological manipulation tactic. Intermittent reinforcement. A psychological trick where unpredictable, scattered rewards create the most powerful emotional addictions. Like a gambler pulling a slot machine, she drops a like or a DM just to keep your hopes alive. And you? If you respond to it, you're not in a relationship. You're in a psychological loop because as long as she knows you're still there, she doesn't need to come back. You've already made it clear. She still has access to you. Stoic truth. A man who values himself doesn't remain an option in someone else's emotional insurance plan. You're not her future. You're her fallback. And until you remove yourself from that position, you will always live beneath your value. Walk away with silence, not to make her wonder, but because you finally see the game. 6. The man who walks away first. Wins the man who blocks, who deletes, who disappears, not to provoke, but to move on. He breaks the cycle. He becomes the mystery. And now she's the one watching without answers. Stoic mastery. Detachment is not indifference, it's clarity. The absence of emotional dependence is what gives you power again. If she's still watching but saying nothing, that's not affection, that's not confusion, that's not hope, it's control. Her silence is not passive, it's strategic. It's designed to keep you on edge, to keep you wondering, to keep you emotionally orbiting her without ever landing. And the longer you wait, the longer you decode her breadcrumbs, the longer you respond to the silence with hope, the deeper you sink into a story she's no longer even writing. But here's the truth. When someone says nothing, that is their answer. The illusion only works if you keep feeding it. So stop scrolling her profile. Stop rewatching her stories. Stop waiting for a message that isn't coming. Because the second you stop chasing silence, the game ends. She no longer knows what you're thinking. She no longer knows if she still has power. And that uncertainty, it flips the dynamic. It puts you back in control. You are not here to be chosen. You are here to choose. So walk with discipline, detach with dignity, and rise like the Stoic you were always meant to become. Drop a comment. I don't chase silence. I master it. And if you're done playing games, subscribe and start living with power, purpose, and peace.